Thank you, Cardinal Gregory, for that beautiful prayer. We gather tonight, a nation in mourning, to pay tribute to the lives we have lost. A grandmother or grandfather who was our whole world. A parent, partner, sibling, or friend who we still cannot accept is no longer here. And for many months, we have grieved by ourselves. Tonight, we grieve and begin healing together. Though we may be physically separated, we, the American people, are united in spirit. And my abiding hope, my abiding prayer, is that we emerge from this ordeal with a new wisdom, to cherish simple moments, to imagine new possibilities, and to open our hearts just a little bit more to one another. It is now my great honor to introduce Lori Marie Key. Lori is a nurse at St. Mary Mercy Livonia Hospital outside of Detroit. Her community was hit hard when the virus struck, and Lori was assigned to the COVID unit. Lori is known for singing on the hospital floor, and a video of her singing a certain hymn inspired our nation. She joins us this evening to honor those we have lost with that same hymn, Amazing Grace.
Thank you so much, Vice President-elect Harris. It is an honor to be here with you and with President-elect Biden. Working as a COVID nurse was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for the patients who were sick. It was heartbreaking for the families who couldn't be there with them. And it was heartbreaking for those caring for them. But when I'm at work, I sing. It gives me strength during difficult times, and I believe it helps heal. So here is Amazing Grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. The Lord had promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He will my strength in perfect peace, as long as life endures, as long as life endures. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. As I said to His Eminence as we were waiting to come in, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, if there are any angels in heaven, they're all nurses. We know from our family experience what you do, the courage, the pain you absorb for others. So thank you. Thank you. Your Eminence, Cardinal Gregory, Yolanda Adams, to heal, we must remember It's hard sometimes to remember, but that's how we heal. It's important to do that as a nation. That's why we're here today. Between sundown and dusk, let us shine the lights in the darkness along the sacred pool of reflection. Remember all whom we lost.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. I want to welcome everybody to the ShOUT Show. I'm your host, Preacher Moss. We have somebody who wants to shout out right out of the box. Somebody new to the show. The Hound House. I'm giving you a shout out, the Hound House. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Give us your name. I know your name's not Hound House, but we're going to give you some love. And that you're new to the show, Hound House. Let me say this. You might be new, you might not. But if you're new to the show, simple housekeeping rules. Feel welcome when you come on the show. This is my platform. It's not anybody else's platform. This is all about platform, okay? I don't claim ownership. I'm just the host. I'm the MC. I try and keep things moving. MC means Master of Ceremonies, which means we're going to keep this thing moving. That's number one. Number two, when you come here on the show, don't act shy. Get in there and be like Hound House. Introduce yourself. Hound House, introduce yourself. Tell people, I hope you're having a great day. Don't be like that. Come in, give a blessing, get a blessing. That's the way we work. And otherwise, man, if you have something to say, put it in the comment section, because we are open platform discussion, brothers and sisters. And the last part, if you're coming on the show for the first time, guess what? We got you. That means you are an official member of the ShOUT Show family, the ShOUT Show soldiers. And if you stay in the comment section, you will be a part of the Stars in the Building introduction, because we roll them out every day, brothers and sisters. Now let me move up to the top. We have our sister. Sister Ree. Sister Ree is up in Michigan, caring for the welfare of our auntie and her older sister. We wish you the best. We wish you the best, Ree, and we want you to make sure that you take care of yourself. Because to be able to help them, you got to be able to help yourself. Make them healthy, you got to be healthy. I want you to make sure that you keep an extra diligent eye on your own health. Prayers are on the way. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Sultana, the consultant producer of the ShOUT Show, making everything move smoothly. I'm here to tell you I couldn't do it without her. And I'm here to tell all of you I couldn't do it without you. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And I'm going to tell you why I want to give everybody props right now. But let me finish introducing Sister Aika all the way from Indonesia. She's fresh up off the prayer mat. I don't even if she knows she's made Fajr or on the way to make Fajr, but she always tunes in and she gives us all kind of love and support and supporting the platform. So we appreciate you. Now, Hound House, I gave you yours up right front. Now you get two. How about that? You're getting two. all the way from Toronto, Altaf Rashid, my main man, always comes in, drops in, and gives us a little love all the way from across the border. But when he comes to see us, he needs no passport. He needs no explanation how long he's going to stay. He doesn't even need to have a COVID test. He gets to hang out with us every day. And Altaf, as I say, brother, I appreciate you. Let me keep it moving. We got people here. Brother Jeffrey McCambridge. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Jeffrey. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you on the show. My mind is not 100%. My memory is not 100%, but I usually remember names. I appreciate you coming on the show, brother. And if it's your first time, welcome. And if you've been here before and I just forgot, welcome back. Sister Sultana Ali, all the way from New Jersey. She says, do I have something to say? I'm sure you do. And if you know the rules of the Shout Out Show, you are more than welcome to say them. I'm going to say a few things up front. I want you to compose your thoughts, put it in the comment section. We're going to roll from there. Okay, brothers and sisters. So we started off this program a little bit early. They're having the COVID-19 memorial with President-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They had some singers on there. They had some gospel singers on there. Okay. Some people go, I don't like God. Look, calm down. I am going to vouch for these women that sang because these were heart-rendering songs. Okay, some of you got to look beyond some of the foolishness and the BS understanding that woman was a nurse talking to you about a religious song that connected her to a force bigger than her that allowed her to do her job and serve people. Now, I'm going to say something to some folks out here. A lot of people do a lot of chirping and stuff, but you don't do any work. You got everything to say, but you don't do any work. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. No, you're not present. So before we say anything, before you open your mouth, recognize whether you've really been doing a job or talking about doing a job. Are you really out there distributing food or talking about one day I'm going to distribute some food? Are you out there talking about, let me check on these elderly people, make sure they're all right? Or are you talking about, maybe one day? No. This is different. I put this thing on as a lead, brothers and sisters, as a lead to the Shout Out Show. I'm going to tell you why. I did it because it just occurred to me after 400-some thousand deaths, that's been the first show from a presidential figure to remind us at the incredible amount of loss of life that we're dealing with. Do you hear what I'm saying? He reminds us of this loss of life that we're dealing with. And it was humble, and it was tasteful, and it wasn't political. It was reality. And I have to recognize the fact that we've been so accustomed to foolishness and blustering of 45 that we forget at some point in time that over 400,000 people lost their life. Over 400,000 people lost their life. You should see the statistics, brother. That's more than some city populations. They're saying that's more than the First World War, Second World War, and the Vietnam War combined together. 400,000 people dead from COVID. And my question is, because the people who are dying and the families who take care of these people, we don't question, brothers and sisters, the sense of urgency. We don't question their sincerity. When somebody says, my mother or my father or my loved one is sick with COVID, we automatically leap into action trying to figure out what it is we can do to help, whether it's a kind word, whether it's a ride to the hospital, whether it's looking up information for hospitals that are open or whatever it is, we leap into action. And yet, there was no compulsion, if you will, to get out and find out how people are doing. Do you realize it's been how long since I remember a certain person saying, the amount of life loss is going to be about 65,000, brothers and sisters. And they shook it off. And people said, we're going to go with him. And they shook it off. We had 400,000 lives lost. And I sit here because there's a danger. There's a danger. And people who are sick in the heart, people who are damaged in the spirit, count on us to become numb to this type of thing. to become numb to this type. I was watching this memorial and I felt at times emotional and shameful. Shameful that Ian, myself in my capacity, didn't raise the roof more. We're living compromised existences because of a disease we can't see, we can't hear, we can't touch, we can't taste. We're living compromising existences. Loss of mobility, loss of life, loss of contact with family members. We're talking about loss of employment, loss of industries, brothers and sisters. And the sobering thing that comes is to watch these people on the mall light up all of these lights down on the mall, light up all of these lights to remind us of how many lives have been lost during this period. They're talking about January 21st was the first reported case of COVID. Well, brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you, I got COVID on January 28th. And I'm here to tell everyone here, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish it on somebody who wanted to kill me. I would not wish it on anyone because it's debilitating and it causes psychological damage. When I say psychological damage, when you go through trauma like that, your body goes through trauma, traumatic activity. It leaves you in a situation scenario where you believe in your mind at some point in time, you can't trust your body to operate the way it used to work. What you got for me, Reed? All right, take care, everybody. All right, give a big hug to Sister Val. Welcome my brother to the show, Johnny L. Thomas. Wow, Lake my salon off my two big brother. Little brother, I'm sorry. Little brother. But you know, I'm speaking to this thing because I see we live compromised existences because of COVID. Because when I see my mom, I'm not seeing my mom. When I'm seeing a good friend, I'm not seeing a good friend. I'm seeing my mom or my brother, but I'm also seeing that precautions have to be taken, not just for my brother, but for his family. Not for my mother, but for her friends. Not for me, but for my friends. Creating an ecosystem that was not there before a year before. Creating a situation scenario where we begin to think out of the box for all the wrong reasons. Granted, all of us are going to leave this world one day. Call it what it is. We're all going to leave this world one day. And let me even go further by saying, listen, I'm a compassionate guy. I believe in mercy. I believe in second chances. However, despite all of my religious orientation, I have a problem, brothers and sisters. I still, at 55 years old, I still have a problem where I cannot suffer fools and hypocrites. When I say that again, I can't stand to suffer fools and hypocrites. And even in my religious theology, it says that, you know, if somebody does something, you don't highlight the errors. You make up excuses for them. Give them 70 excuses. And I understand the reason of that. I understand. But it's difficult for me if that person is a fool or a hypocrite. Because the fool and the hypocrite deals with a different type of criteria, brothers and sisters. The fool and the hypocrite deal with the fact, or the concept, if you will, of intentions, intentionality. When you did something, it had a specific intention. When you said something, it had a specific intention. When you led someone astray, you had specific intentions. Thus, the suffrage of a fool or a hypocrite, I can't do it. It's ridiculous. And if you think about this, all these lives that have been lost, now some of them, all of them were COVID, okay? All of them weren't COVID. They may have been COVID related because people have pre-existing conditions. That's the danger of this virus. It attacks you, your Achilles heel, which is whatever your previously existing condition, and it just exacerbates it in a negative way. But my thing is, that being said, and me being clear that one day you'll visit my grave, I'll visit your grave, that's a part of it. As Sister Sultana says, one thing about life, you can't get out alive. This is true. This is true. But one thing about life, which I have to say is that life, when you leave it, bears intention of a higher power. It bears intention of a higher power. And whether, Allah takes you, well, He ultimately will do, Allah will take you. It is the treatment, brothers and sisters, because of the 400,000 people who have gone and returned to their makers. You have millions that have been left here to suffer the consequences of fools and hypocrites. In the middle of a pandemic, it's not that Trump, brothers and sisters, inspired this mob to rush the Capitol. It's that it was intentionally set up before it actually happened. They'll continue to pull information, brothers and sisters, that tells you that this was premeditated. They meant to do it. That being even more so, my bigger problem is you ushered in the middle of a pandemic, not a riot at the Capitol, but a riot and a super spreader event. I am thoroughly convinced that these people came to Washington, D.C., and wherever they went, they took that virus because somehow in their mind, if I can't kill you with these laws, if I can't kill you with these guns, I'm going to kill you with this virus. And just the sight of massive amounts of white people walking around downtown D.C. with no mask said, these people have a specific agenda. They are here to kill. They're not here to riot. They're here to kill. Big ups to Mary Bowser. Mary Bowser told her citizens, largely black, don't go around those people. Don't spend time around those people. I'd like to see the call-in log that day of people who didn't come to the Capitol, knowing that this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. And we'll be back, brothers and sisters, because what's clear to me, if we reach 400,000 lives lost, and we're still trying to get a vaccine out, there'll be another memorial when we hit 500,000. This is not me being dour. This is not being pessimistic. This is me being realistic. Me being realistic. And in that space, brothers and sisters, I implore all of us to be realistic, to be a little bit cynical, if you will, of the things that are being said to us. When I say cynical, it means to the point where you don't disregard it, but you investigate it. You investigate and you tell people what you found. You share. Let the new community, now that Trump is gone tomorrow, let the new community be based upon solid, meaningful, accurate information. Because 400,000 people did not get the right information. Dr. S. Moore, death is so sad. Could you spell it out? Because I want to make sure we say it on this show. Sister Satana. Sister Ali. Could you spell out, Doctor? Could you put her name in? Now, moving forward, brothers and sisters, a lot of things are going to happen. Some fast, some slow. The immediacy is going to be able to get this vaccine out. Now, I don't know what my feelings are about the vaccine. I have my druthers about the vaccine. Let's just call it what it is. I don't trust it. Here's the reason I don't trust it. If you work so hard to keep something from me and I have to fight you to give it to me, then what this means is when you give it to me, it can't be in the best of condition. I say that about freedom. I say that about economic opportunity. I say that about educational opportunities. If I have to fight you tooth and nail to get it, then you don't really want me to have it. And I think it's a farce for me to believe that you really want me to have it. You see what I'm saying? Per se, if I have to engage you in lawsuits and things like that, it means that you are perfectly positioned to make sure I don't get this thing. Or by the time I get it, it's not of value or it's of reduced value. I'm looking at this tag. How many people must die from COVID-19? Dr. Fauci, whether you like him or not, he was accurate. He said between 300 and 400,000 people would be dead by this time. He was accurate. Why was he accurate, brothers and sisters? Because he looked at the data. These epidemiologists, infectious disease specialists, they look at data. And when I looked at the people who were arguing against the data, I said, you got to be out of your daggone mind. Why are we even having a conversation with people who aren't scientists? Why are we even having a conversation with people who can't spell infectious disease or spell epidemiologists? They can't even spell it. And this is the scenario that we have. Dr. Susan Moore, if you want to see her video, brothers and sisters, it's on Instagram, it's on YouTube. But this was a woman who was a doctor dealing with other doctors. A woman who could read her own x-ray and tell you what was wrong. And still she couldn't get the appropriate treatment. People want to say, oh, it wasn't racism. Look, it's probably worse than racism. If there is anything but worse than that. Yes. Now I'm going to say this, and I want it to come off correct. The new racism, brothers and sisters, as it applies to COVID, as it applies to economic viability moving forward, your jobs and things like that, the new racism is misinformation. Misinformation. As upset as I am about the people who died from COVID, as sad as I felt about it, and this is, like many of you, every day you make dua that people are safe and healthy. We say it on this show all the time. We make dua that people are safe and healthy, that your children are safe, that your parents are safe. You know, it has to be difficult for our parents who live their whole life. They get to a certain age where, you know what, life is supposed to come at them a certain way. And we have to wrap them off and tape them off in their own residences to protect them from a virus that they had nothing to do with. But here's the thing. I talked about I have a problem suffering fools and hypocrites. I don't have a problem suffering death. It's noted that we should visit the graves often. Why? Because we'll be there at some point in time. Somebody will be visiting us. But it's to pay reverence, brothers and sisters, pay reverence that those that came before us and understand their lives and the beauty of their lives and the lesson from their lives. COVID is a cautionary tale, not about the loss of life. It's a cautionary tale about the disregard of life. That people play politics, who withhold vaccines, who somehow can't tell you the truth, and then they walk. They walk. By this time tomorrow, Donald Trump, no longer president, former President Donald Trump, will walk away from mass murder. He will walk away from depraved indifference. They had a thing back in Germany called the Nuremberg trials. They need to have something here. Donald Trump should not walk away from the White House. He should walk to a police car, a sheriff car, FBI in waiting. And he should be taken to a place and made to look at all the evidence against him, which are crimes against humanity, brothers and sisters, crimes against humanity, and be made to account. But that doesn't happen. It won't happen. And the reason it won't happen is because we've let, if you will, we've let so many things become mainstream in terms of disrespect and disregard and misinformation. Yes, Otana, this fool is still making pardons. But there's one pardon he can't make. That is the pardon that he's going to be looking for on Yom Kippur on Judgment Day. And I would hope that all 400,000 people are standing there And he has to be made to explain why he killed each and every one of them, what he did to help life. See, because that's the thing. Here's the thing, and I could be totally wrong, right? It's not the preservation of death. You don't preserve death. It's the preservation of life. When I was a teacher, brothers and sisters, I looked at teaching as a part of my religious etiquette. I couldn't be a good Muslim if I didn't bring these aspects of religiosity in terms of service to the classroom. Forget whether I could teach the kids reading, writing, and arithmetic. I needed to do that, but I had to also introduce culture. And I'm not saying Muslim culture, but a culture of respect, a culture of expectation, a culture of value. And here we are at this point in time, still, brothers and sisters, still trying to put square pegs in round holes. That's exactly what this is. We got Mahasan, what's going on? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I appreciate you, brother. And we hope, and thank you for coming on the show. We hope to have you back. Now I talked about culture and things like that. Thank you, brother Mahasan. May Allah guide you and bless you, brother. He talked about ungodly oppression. Let's talk about that too, man. I'm glad you brought that up. Now here's the model I got from my mother. More than just live, but how we live our lives that count most importantly. Now, my mother is my greatest teacher. She's my greatest teacher in human form. We can talk about religion, but your mother is your first teacher, your greatest teacher. But what I learned from my mom, and what I learned from my dad, and I want to say people in my circle of influence, is that when you did something, and to Mahasan's point, when you did something, it carried the understanding and a capacity of intention. Now, Islam, we say niyat, intention or intentionality. But down south and in my house, intention was what you said, when you said it, who'd you say it to, how'd you say it, and why did you say it? That was all the criteria for intention, brothers and sisters. Did you hear all the things I told you? And what I'm saying is they weren't questions. They were mandates. And so when you got out of pocket, you had to explain all of those. You couldn't say because I felt like it. We ain't had no psychologists back in the days when we were kids, right? We ain't had no psychologists when we were kids. Mama was the cop, mama was the jury, and mama was the judge. And we lived with that. And ain't nothing worse than coming up weak, a cornball, trying to explain something to your mama. I don't care who you are. My house is what you got, brother. That's the day the criminals rule, but alas, it must come. Let me begin to break this down and wrap it up a little bit. I told you guys, and I was honest, that I have my issues with Joe Biden. I still do. I got issues with Kamala Harris. Hell, I got issues with myself. But in this situation, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I'm going to move that to the side. I'm saying it here on the Shout Out Show. I'm going to move it to the side. And I'm going to give them a space. Allow them a space. And I'm going to ask all of us to allow them a space whereby we can look at their intention and judge them on that. Because we've just done 4 years where intention doesn't matter. And the reason why intention didn't matter is because the truth didn't matter. Well, the truth matters today. And it's a different air and a different feeling. We're going to be in hardship for quite a long time. We're going to lose a lot more jobs. We're going to lose a lot more lives. I'm not happy about it, but this is it. And I'm telling you a lot more lives, brothers and sisters, because it's not just COVID. It's not just COVID. You still got people dying from heart disease, cancer, diabetes. Those are all the other ones. COVID is the other one. But my point, if I can make a salient point, is that we all somehow have to muster the courage to believe again. I'm not saying believe in these politicians. I'm saying believe in the power of community and reframe our relationships with these politicians, whereby before you come in, you're going to get a Mary Moss, or you're going to get a Maisie Thomas, or you're going to get a Miss Whitfield, or you're going to get a Miss Ali. And people are going to, you know what I'm saying? People are going to quiz you. And I'm saying have a healthy skepticism for whatever they bring you. If it's a bill they're trying to push through, if it's a vaccine they're trying to put in your arm, have a healthy skepticism. Because in the end, brothers and sisters, this is how we exist. Any minority here in the United States has to understand this is how we exist. People are not going to give us the keys and the pathway and the directions to power, equality, and opportunity. It doesn't happen. It's never happened in life, and it damn sure ain't going to happen in death. So I'm asking us to toughen up, pull ourselves up by our spiritual, mental, and metaphorical bootstraps, and let's just start calling people out. Because for everything that's going on, brothers and sisters, I still wake up every day talking about my mother, are you okay? My father, are you okay? My elders, are you okay? My brothers and sisters, are you okay? And it's not the usual okay. You see what I'm saying? It's not the usual okay. It's a frenetic okay. Because the things I used to worry about, my mother used to worry about me being in the street and getting shot, or me worrying in the street and being harassed by a police officer. Do you know how many people have died from COVID as opposed to police brutality this year? No offense, brothers and sisters. No offense to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, all the way back. No offense to any of them. But this is a situation scenario whereby we can't even control. You don't even have time for bullets, brothers and sisters. So we have a little bit of a long one from Brother Jeffrey. I'm going to put it up. Let me see, Brother Jeffrey talking about teaching, about culture and accountability as it relates to both COVID and official response to Trump's appeal is that he appeals to and then validates ignorance. You're correct. He says experts don't know. I know. I'm here to tell you something. My grandfather told me a long time ago, never argue with a man that's pumping gas while he's smoking a cigarette. Okay. How do we rebuild towards having people trust intellectual authorities, especially when so many of us are distrustful of the vaccine? What you just said about saying we need to make truth matter and reconnect. Yes. I want to see all the paperwork. Brother Jeffrey, I want to see all the paperwork. And I want to take it to people who I trust in the medical community and have them explain things to me. I don't want to take things for granted. If I got to do a crash course in epidemiology, then fine. Infectious disease, then fine. Give me a base knowledge to let me know what these medicines are and what they're going to do to me. What are the expectations when I take a vaccine? And they're vaccines, brothers and sisters. They're not cures. They're vaccines, which means they're meant to slowly either eradicate the disease or lessen its severity. It doesn't mean it stopped. The only vaccine that stopped, I remember stopped the disease was polio, and then polio came back for some reason. Much love to you, Brother Mahassan. Appreciate you, man. And you keep me in the wise, Aki. Sister Latana said we got 10 years to get this country straight. We start right now. Why is it 10 years, Sister Latana? Because Georgia turned blue. You're right. I love your mathematics. You are right. Speaking of mathematics, I'm over my half hour. I hope you guys don't mind me kind of just voicing some things because you got to have these conversations. We can't be weak and willy-nilly about having these conversations. You know, I am going to embolden us to go back to the logic of the old days. When you ain't know something, you shout it out. You shout it out to the person you thought knew it. And if that person didn't know it, then you find somebody else who knew it. And that was the framework of community. That was the love of when somebody showed up in the neighborhood, ain't nobody know him. They say, who you with? Whose boy are you? Whose girl are you? Because they demanded accountability. And it may seem old school, and it may seem archaic, but that was the first control tracking. Knowing who, what, when, where was coming through our neighborhoods, and what were you doing about it? Who did you know? Why are you here? These days, I don't even know who my neighbor is. And we call ourselves a community. So listen, brothers and sisters, I appreciate you. I want you to have the rest of a good day. Keep me in your du'as. I'm going to keep you in my du'as because I believe it's really, really important for us to be able to have these kind of conversations. And I hope that moving forward, I'm not perfect. If I said something good, this is like a Muslim disclaimer. If I said something good, all praise due to Allah. If I said something bad, that's on me and I need to correct my character. But you know what? It's not cliche. That's humility. And I learned from my prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that if he can have that humility, I can have that humility. If my mother can apologize to me, my mother who bore me, apologize to me, that's humility. If my father is my father who's responsible, he can say, I'm sorry, son, I can say I'm sorry. Because in the point, as Sister Sultana said, ain't nobody getting out here alive, brothers and sisters. So while we're here, why don't we make the best use of our time, our effort, and our energy, and really start trying to turn this thing around? Government can't help us. Only God and good intention. I'm Preacher Moss. Take care of yourself. This is the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Don't have a great day. Have an excellent day. Inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.